All right. This is an impromptu story time. Technically, it's Friday. So this video, no, it's Thursday. So this video will come out tonight at midnight, 12:15 in the morning. So it'll come out for Friday. This will be Friday's video. Um, I really wanted to work on this car some more, but welder didn't happen. Parts haven't shown up yet. Not complaining. It's okay. I got a storm going on out there. You might hear an ambulance or a fire truck going by because, it's that season again and hurricanes and all that kind of stuff happen. And, we get those around here. We get, what do they call those? Not tornado. A tornado in the ocean. What is that thing called? My brain's not working right now. We get those. Monsoon rains, the air spinning around. It's like a hurricane, but they downgrade them to tropical storms. If they hit category 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. One year we had 4 category 4 storms around the islands at one time, which was nuts. Some people's lawn furniture got knocked over and stuff. But we'll rebuild. That will happen. Okay, so 2 things prompted this today. 3 things actually. I'll name off in order. One, well, I said it. No welder, no parts. That's one thing. I'll just call that one. That's looped that into one thing. The second thing was working on the car yesterday, doing the interior. My puppy's out here. Puppy, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Hi, Molly. Good girl. Okay, lay down, lay down, lay down. Good girl. Sorry. She's sniffing around and being a dog. The second thing was working on this car yesterday and putting the seat in. I started a little fire. Some of you guys saw that. Maybe you didn't. Had to go get the water, dump it on it. And that reminds me of a story. So I wanted to tell you that story. And I'm also going to tell you the one for story time tomorrow. After I'm done with this story today, maybe 2 stories today because it's Friday and I feel like it. Tomorrow you'll get story time, and that will be about the coop and the storm. And maybe another story about being here. But I got something in the mail today. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's backwards. You can't see it because I'm doing it. This says Love It Speed Shop. And you saw my backwards name and address. So Love It Speed Shop, they sent me something. So I think this is stickers for my car. Which brings me to the reason why I wanted to make this video today. I was going to work on it, but I really wanted to make a video because the other day I hit 80 subscribers, which blows my mind. And thanks for your support, Herb and Alicia. Love It Speed Shop stickers. These are going, I needed 2. They knew it. They're going in the windows, the quarter windows, with my other Vange stuff, because these are awesome. And I'm going to get some stickers made at some point. I don't know what they're going to look like. Maybe fin of the shark, maybe a wave. I don't know. Something that says Jaws. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. It's really super awesome. I'm pretty stoked. Maybe one of these days, Brian, I'll win one of your BW garage stickers. I'll guess the right number. Maybe one of these days it'll actually be the number 8. But that brings, okay, so back up a little bit. Okay, so you guys know I started this channel just for the couple buddies I got, just so I could share with them what I was doing. And it turned into 80 people right now subscribing, which I never dreamed it would be like that. I can't imagine what the future's going to hold. I'm kind of excited and at the same time terrified. Not really terrified, but just kind of curious of what that would look like. Pretty stoked, actually. But I've met some of you folks through this social media thing, through this YouTube channel, and made some. I think I call you guys my friends. I'd be just like if you guys were here in real life. It'd be the same thing. We'd be hanging out and BSing like this when we can't do parts. Show up at a guy's shop, don't have the right parts, broke a bolt, something, car, whatever's going on, and now we just stop and, if we were, we'd be drinking beers and hanging out and barbecuing. Someone would go get a pizza or something. We just would sit around and look at car magazines and talk about cars. And that's what we're doing at the story time. And that's what's going to happen today. But it's because of you guys and my friends, Brian, BW Garage, Brian, who I sent some trim screws, not you, Brian, but Brian, you know who I'm talking about. This guy, Brian, was it Facebook, Brian? Was it Facebook? I think it was Facebook. He goes by Rembrandt on here, but it was on Facebook, I think. He needed some trim screws for his 55 Chevy Gasser that he's building. You're in New York. And he has another 55 as a hardtop. I think it's a hardtop. Pretty cool. Kind of a survivor car. But he needs some trim screws. He didn't want brand new trim screws. And I happen to have a bunch of extra old screws for the gauge cluster. And he's like, I just needed 2. And people are like, oh, go buy these new ones, stainless ones. And I had brand new stainless ones, and I had a bunch of old ones. So I'd send him a picture of, like, here's your choices. Here's 2 old, really old, not so old, kind of decent, you could use these, and here's some new ones. I sent them all in a package to him. I was like, there you go, man, knock yourself out. And, through that, he's helped me, like, guide me and give me some heads up on how to, like, do this editing thing, because he edits videos. He does, like, on his channel, he's got some cool stuff. No car stuff yet. I keep bugging him, build your 55, or I want to see some pictures of it or whatever. By the way, Brian, your gauges are still here. When you want them, they're here. The ones that were in the floor of this car. And I showed you guys what they look like. They were an aluminum panel, and they're Stuart Warners. They're vintage ones from like the late 70s, early 80s. They were molded into the floor. Like, just bad. But they come in a console. He needs something for his gasser, so those are spoken for. He's going to get those things. But like him. And then Chris. I got a text from Chris today. Talking about he had blue valve covers like that on his square body Chevy truck that he had. Still has it. Super cool. Building a super cool gasser. Brian, BW Garage, building a super cool gasser. The love puppy. Shh, I'm trying. Honey, wagging your tail and growling does not. Baby, no. A 3-month-old who's 11 years old, but she's 3 months old in her brain. Really, like, honestly. She never made it past that because of, some trauma. So it's like, Dina, puppy, shh, stop. Molly, quit. No, lay down. Lay down. Anyway, so we got, okay, that's it. You're going in the house. I'll be right back. She couldn't behave, so I had to put her in the house. Anyway, no, don't cry. You can't come out here. Give me, in 2 minutes, I'll bring you out here. Okay, so, anyway, the Lovitts they did a 2-door to 4-door conversion, and Herb has a 150. You guys all know each other because in the chat room thing, talking back and forth kind of stuff, and most of you guys found me through Dan at D&D Speed Shop. Those guys were on some live show. I didn't even know about it. And they mentioned me and said I was some sort of crazy person that puts videos out at midnight. And my videos just cut off like I don't care. And that really, if you know me, that's not the truth. I just too lazy to know what I was doing. So, yeah. And Dan and I text back and forth. And some of you guys, we message off the side or whatever. And Tim's always giving me always great advice. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And Gorney with his, big block kings man, I'm jealous. Those cars are wicked. He asked me the other day about an intake manifold on a big block. And I hope I gave him the right advice. I don't know. I may have steered you. I hope I didn't steer you wrong, buddy. I really didn't mean to. But, yeah, this is it. Just hanging out. And I'm just stoked. I'm super stoked to have you guys here and have you guys hang out with me. It's almost like you're here. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It just really makes me happy. This channel really fills a part of like a void that I had of not being able to be around my buddies that I grew up with on the mainland, and we also were always doing that. Coming out here, I just didn't know anybody. And then I got, Rob from How Red Is Your Neck, which it's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. We normally would be working on his car, but we're actually going to do, this is kind of off topic, but we're doing timing belts on the 4.7 V8. I'm doing mine on my 4Runner, and he's going to do his on his Tundra. We're going to bring them both over here and do them at once. I'm not going to film it for you guys, because who cares about a 4.7 V8? I mean, I do. They're pretty cool. I want a blower for mine, and we want to rip one out of another truck and put one in his little Tacoma, because it's a small Tacoma with a 4.7. But that has nothing to do with 57 Chevys and blowers or 4-speeds. But I know I'm not thinking, oh, Randy and Robert at RNG. Like, there's so many people that comment all the time. It's nonstop. And if I forgot you, if I didn't think of you, it's because I got my weird brain thing going on and I can't always think of it. But you guys are always, oh, Tri-5 guy and chasing muscle cars. And oh, man. So many cool guys are just out there building cool stuff. And I think that if we all were at a car show together, we probably would all have a great time. I think it'd be great. I think we're all kind of pretty similar. And that's why I know that I enjoy telling you guys stories, and I know that you guys enjoy. I'm hoping you guys enjoy listening to them, because I really enjoy sharing them with you. Which brings me to the story of the number 2 reason, catching this thing on fire. So catching this thing on fire at the grinder reminded me of catching my 46 Chevy Coupe on fire when I was welding the exhaust underneath it and welding brackets under the rear seat. So the history of that car, I had that blown small block in a like this color blue 72 Chevy truck that I built, and a Super 1010 in it, and had that Paxton and all that cool stuff in it, and a 377, and that thing ran really, really good. In fact, I knew I was going to kill myself in it or go to jail a lot more, or a lot, or whatever. So I traded it off for this field car. Literally was chasing fields, and it was an irrigation car for chasing irrigation. It was beat up, and I got in like early to mid 2000s. Barely ran. A farmer was lifting. In fact, I think they used a backhoe and a forklift and a chain and picked the body up off the frame, and they put a small block in it and a sheet metal style Mustang 2 front end under it, and cobbled the thing together, and it barely ran. And I traded this guy straight across for it, and my brother-in-law thought I was nuts. At the time, brother-in-law thought I was nuts, and my wife thought I was crazy. Like she was like, oh, whatever, do whatever you want to do. And that pickup was the only car I'd ever finished. It was actually painted, upholstered, done, wheels, tires, and I was driving it every day. It was my work vehicle. In fact, my company Jaws, I used it all the time. That was my truck, going around wiring stuff, hot rods at different shops. Put on the shop T-shirt, go inside, pretend I was an employee. So because the customer came in, the rod shop, seeing their car being built, and here's a guy in the same hot rod shirt, stringing their car up. And I did that for years over there, building systems, LS swaps, all that kind of stuff in various hot rod shops. Had a good time, had a great time doing that. But that was my work truck, and I traded and built this coupe. Drove it and was driving the coupe as I was building it for years. Eventually chopped it, put a different motor in it, aluminum headed small block, kind of like this one here. I eventually when I moved here, I put a T5 in it, world class T5, and 410s with the locker. And it was a pretty good car. And then I sold it, and it got painted, and now it's in Australia. You guys know the whole story. But this is one of the trips going to Bonneville. I'm getting ready to go to Bonneville, and I had to go to my family. I was in Reno, so Hot August Nights is a big thing in our life. So I was going down there, and I had the motor, was going to get put in, and I had just chopped it, and the car was kind of in pieces, and I had the old motor in, and it was kind of just bare metal and chopped, and I had roughed it in, And one of my buddies was like, "Oh, just leave it over here at my place, and we'll have a bunch of beers and get a body party going, and we'll just do your body work on your car while you're gone. And when you get back, we can throw the motor in, and then we can all truck to Bonneville." So I was like, "Okay." So Speed Week was a couple weeks, and Hot August Nights was like we able to stagger it, and then there was like a week involved or whatever. So I ended up leaving the car there. When I came back, the body work was done, and I'm not a body guy, but these guys did a fantastic job. They body worked it, sealed it. It was in primer, and he had a big lift out back. So they'd put the car around back, and I went and used my truck that I had built for my wife that we had clipped with the Camaro. And I went over to my buddy Brent's place, and I got my aluminum head small block that he had gone through for me because I was busy. And I told him to leave it stock, but he's a cylinder head porting guy and an engine builder, and he doesn't know what that word means. So he didn't leave it stock. I said, leave it alone, and he didn't leave it alone. So I swapped him over there, and literally the day I put the motor in and fired it up, I fired up, got it running, put the front clip back on, front fenders, everything, filled it with fluid, topped it off, broke the cam in, all that stuff, and drove it straight to Bonneville. Broke it in on the highway to Bonneville. Just motored along with it. And got there and hung out and had a good time. And then I ended up leaving early that year because well, I don't want to get into it, but I ended up having to leave early that year and coming home, which was fun. It was fine, no big deal. But that car, when I had it up on the hoist, I was doing the exhaust, and I had made new motor mounts, and I didn't like the way the engine sat, so I rigged it all up with boards and everything, and set in there, and I was lower and back, so I dropped the center of gravity and I moved it, but I didn't want the oil pan below the frame, and I was going to build whole new exhaust, so I built my own motor mounts to it with the motor sitting like I'm going to do to this. I'm going to strap the motor up and then build motor mounts. I did that to this car, fabbed those, and I fabbed my own exhaust off this thing, and I kept it all tucked up where the frame was lower than the pipes, and it went all the way out over the rear end and out the back, and it was super cool. But while I was doing that, I had another friend of mine who we had a parts car that we swapped parts out of. He had a 48 and a 47 parts car, but he was building a 48, and I had a 46. So I got like a front seat from a buddy of mine in Chicago that shipped it to me through Greyhound, and then I got a back seat from my buddy John, who had this parts car, and so I had this perfect original back seat that didn't match, and the front seat didn't match, but they're original upholstery, and I'm welding underneath this thing, and all of a sudden, my buddy hollers, "Hey, you got smoke coming out of the inside of the car," and I got in there fast enough to drop it down and see the bottom front of my seat, not this top of it, but like where the front goes down over the drive line, there on the tunnel, that thing on fire, and I put it out with a garden hose and kind of laughed at myself and was mad because I should have pulled the back seat out before I welded all that stuff up, and then I would have saved the original back seat. But that car had that burn up seat in it forever. I think we threw a moving blanket or something over it and never looked at it again. But yeah, I was I was grinding on this thing. Flashbacks definitely too. That I was thinking, oh great, I gotta get water. And I went and got water. But it was a really fun car, a really cool trip. And I'm glad I got to share with you guys. That car was fun. This is fun. I say that all the time, but it's true. This is really fun. And my doggy wants to hang out. So I'm going to drink my Big Island kombucha. Super ginger turmeric tonic. I'm going to drink some of that, play with the dog, and I'll be back, and I'll tell you story time for, I'll drink that, and I'll be back. I'll play with the dog, I'll be back.